ChatGPT said. The scent of pine hung heavy in the air, sharp and clean, a cruel contrast to the stale silence that had defined our life back in suburbia. Christine had insisted on this trip, almost pleaded for it. A weekend in the mountains, tucked away from screens and deadlines, a chance to reconnect, she'd said. Her voice had been bright, but her eyes held a nervous flicker I'd chosen not to notice. Stress, I told myself. Work stress. That was easier to believe than the truth I didn't want to face. We hadn't been okay for a long time. Deep down, I knew that. Still, I let myself believe this retreat was an olive branch, a step toward fixing what we'd broken. Naive, maybe. I wrestled the luggage from the trunk, the weight of it doing nothing to ease the hollow ache lodged in my chest. For months, it had felt like there was a wall between us, thick, impenetrable. Intimacy had become a hollow performance, each kiss and touch ringing false, like actors fumbling through their lines. She was there, but not really. Even in the same room, she felt a million miles away. I tried. God, I tried to reach her, but every attempt fell flat, like talking to someone already halfway gone. The lodge itself was something out of a postcard, rustic charm nestled among towering redwoods. Inside, a woman with warm eyes and a name tag that read Brenda welcomed us with an easy smile. She handed me a clipboard and a packet, cheerful as she wished us a pleasant stay. For a brief, fleeting moment, I felt something I hadn't in months, hope. You've got a beautiful place here, I told her honestly. Thank you, dear. You too, enjoy yourselves, she said with a knowing smile, gesturing toward a small desk where I could fill out the form. Christine excused herself to the restroom, the click of her boots echoing on the wood floor as I settled at the desk. Name, address, emergency contact, routine stuff. My pen hovered lazily until my eyes caught on something near the bottom. A name. A familiar name. It wasn't our doctor or anyone I'd expect. It wasn't even neutral. It was personal. Dylan. The letters hit me like a blow, an icy flood rushing through my veins. My stomach turned molten, while creeping up my throat. Dylan. The way she'd said it before, so softly, almost a whisper, suddenly made sense. The late nights. The locked phone. The distance that no conversation could close. It all came together, every jagged piece sliding into place with cruel clarity. My hand clenched around the pen as the weight of that single word settled into my bones. I stared at it, unable to look away. The page blurred, but the name burned like fire in my mind. Christine's boots clicked back across the floor. Everything okay? Her voice trembled, barely, but I heard it. I didn't answer. Couldn't. Instead, I held out the form, my finger tracing the damning letters like a scar carved into paper. She followed my hand, and when her eyes landed on it, the color drained from her face. Ashen. Exposed. She froze. A tremor rippled through her fingers. Her lips parted, but no words came. How could you? The words rasped out of me, raw, almost broken. It's not, she stammered, but the lie wouldn't come. Her confidence, her calm facade, gone. She looked small. Trapped. And I saw it then, she knew the game was over. It's not what? My voice cracked like a whip. Not his name? Not an emergency contact? You thought I wouldn't notice? This. I jabbed the paper, the rage boiling hotter. This is your idea of reconnecting? Dragging me here while he's still in the picture? While you. My throat burned as the words tore through me. Did you think I wouldn't find out? Her eyes brimmed with tears, a pitiful show that only fanned the flames roaring in my chest. I felt the sound rising in me, thunder rumbling through my ribs, spilling out sharp and savage. I'm so sorry, she whispered finally, the words hollow, lifeless, devoid of conviction. And that was worse than the lie. It only managed to irritate me almost as much as the lie she had been living with. Every shaky, defeated word that slipped from her lips made my anger climb higher. The lies that had suffocated me for so long were finally exposed, and I could see them for what they truly were, disgusting filth. I had poured everything into this relationship. My time, my energy, my love. I built a life for us, a home filled with dreams and plans we shared. And she threw it all away for a meaningless fling with some guy she barely knew beyond a professional setting. The rage inside me wasn't calm, wasn't measured. It was raw and consuming, unlike anything I had ever felt. Sorry, I repeated, my voice dripping with sarcasm. That's all you've got? After everything, our life, our years together, that's what you give me? Sorry. My voice rose, trembling with fury. Where's the honesty? Where's the truth? I gave you everything, and this is what I get in return. Who does that make you? What kind of person tosses someone aside like garbage? I was done whispering. My voice carried across the room as my whole body shook with unrestrained anger. Here's what's going to happen, Christine, I said, my words cold and deliberate. You're going to pack your things, and you're leaving. You don't belong in my life anymore. Her eyes widened in shock, tears streaking down her cheeks as the carefully constructed mask she wore began to crumble. At the front desk, Brenda glanced over, a flicker of concern crossing her face. She wasn't alarmed yet, but my volume was starting to draw attention. Wait, please, Christine stammered, lifting a hand in a pathetic attempt to stop me. But I was beyond reason. I grabbed the key from the desk, my hands trembling, not from heartbreak anymore, but with resolve. I'll call you an Uber, I said flatly. Go pack your things. 5 minutes. If you're not out by then, I'll drag you out myself. Her face drained of color, panic flashing in her eyes. You can't, she whispered. I can, I snapped. For better or for worse, right? Well, you threw away the better a long time ago. All that's left for you now is worse, and I'm going to watch as you deal with it. Christine spun on her heels, her footsteps pounding the wooden floor as she hurried down the hallway. I stood there, a strange cocktail of hollowness and grim satisfaction swirling inside me. A part of me wanted to prolong it, to punish her in every way my mind could conjure. But watching her run, broken and defeated, gave me something stronger than revenge, closure. I waited outside, silent, as she emerged with a single suitcase. She didn't look at me, didn't speak, didn't beg. Her silence said more than any excuse ever could. My Uber pulled up, and I placed her luggage in the trunk. Without another word, I shut the door on what used to be our marriage. She didn't fight. She didn't plead. She understood. It was over. I paid the driver to take her to the nearest town, to figure out her next steps alone, just like she had left me to do. As the car pulled away, her figure grew smaller in the rearview mirror, and I felt something I hadn't in a long time, peace. Not the kind of peace I expected from saving a marriage, but a new beginning, a clean break. I walked back inside. Brenda gave me a sympathetic smile and handed me the keys to what was now my cabin alone. If you need anything, extra towels, breakfast added to your stay, just let me know, she said kindly. That would be great, I replied, taking the keys and feeling the last remnants of pain begin to fade. This trip was meant to be our chance to heal, to find our way back to each other. But she never gave us that chance. And now, I finally had mine. I spent the weekend hiking through the mountains, each step clearing my head. The crisp air was like medicine, and the lodge's fire pit became a place where I laughed with strangers, people who reminded me that joy still existed. This wasn't how I planned it, but somehow, it felt right. For the first time in so long, I felt like me again, the person I was before the betrayal. I could laugh. I could breathe. Driving home that Sunday evening, I didn't feel grief. I didn't feel broken. Just a deep, quiet understanding. There was nothing left to hold on to, only the need to keep moving forward. Christine's lies had almost destroyed me, but now that the storm had passed, I was more grateful than ever that she was gone. As I pulled into my own driveway, my space, untouched by deceit, I realized something profound. The only reconnect I had ever needed was with myself. And I had found it, not with her, but in the silence of the mountains and the strength I never knew I had. The journey wasn't kind, but I could be. And I would.